Hi, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Wellness Warriors. I'm Dr. Brdigit, your hostess with the mostest and founder of breastcancerconqueror.com and co-founder of My Breast Friend. So today I've got a special guest on that's going to talk to us about detoxifying, and she has a very unique approach to it. Brdigit Danner, welcome, Bridgit.
Hi, Veronique.
Bridgit is an acupuncturist and a certified functional diagnostic nutritional practitioner. And basically, after losing everything to toxic mold, she is now really passionate about educating women and people in general about getting rid of mold and how to handle a mold situation. And what I'm really excited to announce too is that she has a detox summit coming up June 3rd through 10th, and that's going to really educate a lot of people about how to best detox. So welcome, Bridgit. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of make the links between what you are an expert on and what I've studied and see what synergy that creates for everyone.
That's right. That's right. So everybody's story and passion usually starts with some sort of pain story. So tell me what happened to you and how you ended up in this position today as the expert.
Yes, kind of two-part story. As a child, I was like a little environmentalist. I don't know why, but just as a child, you hear about things in the news, and I was concerned about the coal in the ozone layer and animal rights and stuff. So that's actually why I got into natural medicine. But then, you got kind of caught up in the training and the medicine part, and the environmental part sort of went to the back burner for me in a lot of ways. Until a few years ago, I was living in an old home and was really sick and couldn't figure it out, and finally figured out we had toxic mold growing in the home, and we made some errors with fixing the home. I got a lot sicker. We ended up literally losing everything in the home, having to get rid of it because it was all kind of infected with toxins, and remodeling the home, selling the home, living with my parents. It wasn't an easy time. Ended up moving 1,000 miles away and kind of getting a new start in a drier area. But the kind of happy ending is I sort of, gives you a chance to recreate our lives. And it really pulled me back into, this is like the core of why I got into medicine, and just to teach people about the environment, because when we make choices for ourselves that are environmentally friendly, there's just this great trickle down to our planet. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. I practice as an acupuncturist for 13 years, but now I just work online doing health coaching and lab testing and educating.
So what were some of the mistakes that you did that really caused you to lose everything? Yeah.
Okay, so mistake number one was, first thing we found was there was moisture in our basement and we wanted it remediated. And, I think we knew enough to know, it needs to be contained, but we didn't really understand that concept. So the guy we hired was like, okay, take everything from the basement, move it up to the main floor because I need to work in the basement. That's a horrible idea.
So you're taking all the moldy stuff up another level.
Yeah. Yeah. You can tend to make a lot of strange decisions when you're sick and your brain isn't working. So that was a really bad idea. And I just think he made some errors too in how he contained it. And I had just quit my practice to be online and I was working from home. So I was in that environment all the time, which is why I think I was the sickest. So yeah, that was kind of, but after that we started to learn more, but yeah, we kept making mistakes. We transport things in our car. We lost both our cars to the mold. So, just things you don't even think about when normal life become like this. It comes this crazy, new reality where everything around you is dangerous to you and you can't bring it with you anywhere. It's crazy.
So even your car, I never even thought about having mold in a car.
Yeah, both our cars we lost, and we put one of them in storage for 3 months while we traveled, and we came back and we're immediately this is definitely, we can't keep it.
Wow.
So yeah, you it's on your clothes and then it goes in the air vent, and I think a lot of cars are moldy because cars can leak too and that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So if somebody wants to have their home tested for mold, what is the best way to test for mold? Are there certain kits or companies that you recommend?
Yeah, I think if you're a homeowner like we were, I think and you have the access to a local mold inspector, I think it's a great way to go. It's what we did, because not only will they sample, like ours did air and drywall, but they actually look for where moisture may have like penetrated the home. So if you're a homeowner, you want to know about that. If you're renting, you may want to do, they have like some little plate kits. I think there's a company called Immunolytics that does these plates, and then they'll consult with you. To be honest, I hadn't heard great things about the plates when I was sick, so I never did any stuff with plates. We did end up also testing dust in our house, which anyone can do. So like a little bit more expensive, but it's actually testing for the toxins in the dust rather than mold spores, which you'd find on a plate. Since the toxins are like what actually get you sick, I like the idea of testing for the toxins. So those are some places to start.
Okay. And so, well, let's talk about detoxification. So somebody goes through a situation like yours and they're really sick. What's a good place to start when it comes to detoxification? Because there's so many, all we hear on the internet is, detox, got to detox, but where do we start and what do we do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the first step is avoidance. So if you're, for instance, in mold, it is getting away from mold. Whereas if you're, say you find out you have cancer, well, think about like what you have in your home environment, what you're putting in your mouth that contains toxins or heavy metals or whatever. So I think avoidance is number one, but there is always, I think, the step two. And, I have a mold Facebook group, but it's not just getting away from it, then it's in your body and you have to get it out. It's the whole process. Same for people going through, a cancer diagnosis. Like, what do we do? There probably is a sense I want to get this out. So I can share some things that were really helpful for me. Sauna was one of them.
So infrared or far infrared or near infrared or.
So I now have a far infrared sauna. But when I was sickest, I didn't have anything. I was homeless. So I was going to gym. So I really just advocate, start where you are. It doesn't have to be like a fancy sauna.
Right.
A lot of the studies were done on old school saunas, right? Not fancy new saunas. So just do what you can to sweat as much as you can tolerate. Because sweating can get out pesticides and mold toxins,
heavy metals. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. So that's a really accessible thing to do. It also, calms your sympathetic nervous system, which we all need. We all need to get into that calm place. It repairs cells, does all sorts of magical things. So sauna is one thing. I definitely was dry brushing really consistently. I still dry brush pretty often, but it's a technique I knew about. It's hard to get excited about it sometimes if, you're cold in the morning, but I really could notice the difference when I did it when I was my sickest, for moving lymph and kind of giving me some energy. That's funny.
I just posted I just created a video this morning about dry brushing.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it's one of those things we know we should do a lot every day. And I try to be in the habit of it, but no, it's great therapy.
Yeah. So simple. Yeah. Let's see. I also started doing coffee enemas when I was at my sickest. Good. And I know that's not a topic everyone wants to embrace, but when you're really sick, you're like, maybe I should try this.
No, our community and our audience loves coffee enemas, so you're in a safe place.
Sweet. Yeah. I think they're so helpful. They always give me immediate relief. Some other simple things, just doing like fresh green drinks or, chlorella, things just to get some more oxygen to my cells seem to help a lot too. So those are some basics. There's a lot more. We'll start there.
Okay. No, that's great. So if we want to detox our home, what are some good areas to start detoxification in the home?
Yeah, I'll tell you some different buckets, and maybe if you want to follow up on any of them, feel free. So I would say in the kitchen, food quality. Often that's where people start, but also, don't just think about, oh, I'm going to go keto or I'm going to go vegetarian. Like, you think about food like quality and toxins and processing. Think about plastics in the kitchen. Some of us have reduced it, but if we're still having a lot of plastics touch our food in different points of preparation, that's something that you can reduce. Cleaning supplies. It's super easy to switch out your cleaning supplies, and they can be super toxic if you don't and you're using heavy stuff. Beauty supplies, thinking about heavy metals and makeup and fragrance and perfume and shampoo, and there's, again, a ton of companies now that have better options. So a lot of times people have a hard time thinking, oh, I'm going to give up my favorite perfume or my favorite lipstick, but there are lots of options to explore. Let's see. I would say air quality. So both thinking about what you bring into your house and how it off gases. So if you're buying a new mattress, if you're using dry cleaning, if you're remodeling, if you're recarpeting, all these things potentially off-gas furniture. So there's the off-gassing equation, and there's maybe considering an air filter in the home. For one thing, just changing the air return in your house more often with a better quality filter, or purchasing like a small one that can go room to room, or even just opening the windows more. Air quality outside is better now than inside.
I know. Isn't that scary?
It's really scary. You can just open windows more. Sometimes people never open windows. And then water quality too. I think that's a confusing topic for people, but unfortunately, I don't think we can sort of trust the government, so to speak, that is giving us water quality to level our body needs.
No.
No. Yeah, there's no, for instance, standard about what pharmaceutical residue is in there, like, at all. So then you can be kind of reintroduced to things into your body that are going to confuse the system. So yeah, those are some areas to look at.
Okay, good. So what are some ways that we can detox through our diet? And is there a specific diet that you advocate that works best for detoxification, dealing with mold, or just generally?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't say I have like a specific diet. I mean, certainly avoiding toxins in foods, especially animal foods, avoiding kind of the common irritants like sugar and dairy and gluten and alcohol, especially when you're sick, right? Like, just really, those things just add more load to process. And then I think getting a lot of greens. Terry Walls is in our upcoming Detox Summit, and it really hit home for me, her story, and how, frankly, vegetables really changed things for her, because she had already gone paleo. She was taking a bunch of supplements.
Tell her story. And people
sure. Yeah. So she had MS, like very advanced progressive MS, was in a wheelchair, was a doctor, so was doing her own research. And had changed her diet, added supplements. Things were improving, but she was still, in a wheelchair, not great. Maybe, she was able to sit up more. Things were a little better. Then she started looking into foods to support detox pathways in the liver. And that's really when things started to really change for her. And she reversed her MS, and she's now walking and riding a bike and teaching and all these things. So I think that it's a good reminder for me and kind of for all of us, because we have such a low standard for diet in this country. We're really packing that diet with more greens. So she says 2 cups of cruciferous vegetables, 2 cups of leafy green vegetables, 2 cups of colorful vegetables a day. That's raw. So when you cook them, they're not that big. And you don't have to overeat if you're a little person, but getting those into smoothies and salads and steaming them is actually, what really pushed her forward with her progress. So I think that that's a simple concept that we can just aim for every day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And those are all things that I advocate, as well.
Right.
Because cruciferous are so important when it comes to breast cancer. All right. What about conditions like autoimmunity and hormonal balance? I mean, those are key in our community as well. So how do toxins impact those 2 conditions?
Yeah, I think that gets overlooked a bit, that toxins can play a part because they're, it's happening at like the cellular level, right? It's
Mhm.
also invisible, but they can create inflammation at the cellular level that like messages kind of aren't getting through the cell wall. They can create kind of wrong feedback, right? A lot of them look like estrogens. So it gives the brain a sense that there's more estrogen in the body. So it creates kind of this hormonal confusion. It can dysregulate insulin and kind of sugar handling. So I guess I would just say, having this extra information in the body of toxins, it's just breaking down some communication channels. It's causing inflammation and just causing a lot of like mixed messages, sometimes even that end up with the body attacking itself, like an autoimmunity. So I think that's becoming, more talked about, and we have some speakers talking about it on the summit, especially thyroid and toxicity. So yeah, I think, again, it may not be that switching out your plastics is going to like change your case, right? Like you have to do a lot of different things. But it's kind of creating this safe environment for your body to reduce toxins as much as possible and give it a chance to heal.
Awesome. Yes, one way that I explain autoimmunity to my patients in the past and clients now is that, when you absorb these toxins, your immune system is doing its job, right? It's trying to go in there and clean out all that ickiness that's in the tissue. So it literally starts attacking its own tissue. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. All right, so let's ask one more question about the digestive system and why that's so important as far as detoxification and keeping our digestive system safe and protected and clean.
Yeah, so I kind of like to be big picture. That's sort of how my mind works. So a few things are happening in the digestive system. One is you should be absorbing nutrients there, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
anything's blocked there, like inflammation or leaky gut, that process could, or undigested food, that basic process of absorbing nutrients could be disrupted. And we need those nutrients for the liver to work correctly, just for one example, never mind the hormones and everything else. So, site of inflammation, nutrient absorption. If you have chronic infections there, then that's creating even more waste for the body to deal with. And I think a lot of people have chronic digestive infections nowadays, unfortunately. And then a lot of people are constipated nowadays. So that bowel tract is where a lot of the toxins need to move out. So having healthy bacteria, having healthy movements, having healthy bile flow is what facilitates those toxins to be able to leave the body. So if any of those processes are backed up, you're just like recirculating toxins, again, giving more confusing signals to the body. So it's definitely an area to support. I think nowadays we do have to be more conscious of it. Chewing, eating fermented foods, taking enzymes, maybe getting some gut testing, because if that system, is blocked or inflamed, you are going to have a hard time detoxifying and healing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In the early 80s, I just graduated and I got really interested in gut health. There was an old man called V.E. Irons. I mean, he was in his 80s at the time, so he'd been around for a long time. And his whole thing was about bowel toxicity. And he actually discovered 22 toxic chemicals that are produced in an unhealthy gut, people that are constipated or have, IBS. And those toxins recirculate and, really trigger some pretty incredible diseases in the body. So I thought, way back when, that information was known. So it's so important to keep your digestive system clean. Now, do you advocate a specific kind of test to check for the microbiome, or, there's more testing out there? Is there one that you use in particular?
Yeah, the one we use in our clinic is the GI map by Diagnostic Solutions, and it tests for like RNA, DNA of pathogens. So it's pretty accurate. It can't, like, for instance, it doesn't test for every parasite in the book. It tests for like the more common ones.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm actually seeing a client later today. She's her first time testing, but can't lose weight, and thyroid is off. And she's got like everything in the book: H. pylori, parasite, bacterial imbalance. She already had diverticulitis, she knew, speaking of gases and
Wow.
toxins. So it's like, okay, I feel like the bearer of bad news to tell her all this stuff, but at the same time, at least she has an opportunity to address it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been amazing. So if people want to learn more about you and everything that you do, where can they find you, Bridgit?
Sure. It's just BridgitDanner.com.
Okay. And we have a free gift that you're going to be offering, depending on when this podcast comes out. So we'll put it on the show notes. And I do want to encourage people to check out the summit, the Detox Summit that you're hosting.
Yeah, hopefully we can get it in before the podcast. Actually, we may, because after it runs, it still has an encore weekend. So we have 35 detox experts speaking. But yeah, then Evergreen, if people find this months from now, we always have free gifts at our site about mold toxins or thyroid, all sorts of stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, Bridgit. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Dr. V sending you a big healing heart hug. Bye, everybody.